Hey now, thank you for hanging out with us. It's your old pal Shram and Cashman, and Tara's here as well. You are listening to Derby Rocks. Thank you for hanging out with us. We're recording. It's what, Wednesday.
Yeah,
Um,
it's either
the,
that
the,
or it's July 4th and you're hearing fireworks right now.
yeah, right, yeah. So we do have the holiday coming up. I will be a little bit busy. It is a busy time of the year for me. So quite honestly, like the next like 2 months, there's going to be very few shows that we do live. So bear with us. Cashman, you bear with me too. I'm sorry, buddy. I appreciate you though.
Not a problem. That's why I bought this equipment, man. You know,
Yeah,
it comes in handy.
doing a lot of work in and stuff like that. So I definitely appreciate it. But hey, it has been a couple of weeks since I've been here.
Yeah.
It's good to be back. Good to be doing another episode. It's going to be a great show, by the way. With the North American qualifiers right around the corner, we are going to have our friend from Casco Bay Roller Derby, my baby daddy, or MBD, on the show. We're going to talk all about roller derby and Maelstrom and Vermont and a lot of stuff. So make sure you listen to that. It is a great interview. Spoiler alert, we already recorded it. It is a
Yeah.
good one. So stick around for that. We're going to get to our weeks here in a second. But hey, thank you for hanging out. How's it going, Cash?
Oh man, it's you're right. This we have a holiday weekend coming up, and it's a busy time of year for a lot of people. A lot of people traveling, a lot of people doing, and it's time to maybe have some hot dogs and burgers on the grill. You get an extra day off. I know it's really tough for some people to celebrate this country with like some of the decisions that have been made recently in it. But if you want to know how I feel, at least read the US
Oh,
teams.
yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah,
We could talk about that. We've got the World Cup starting tomorrow.
yeah,
Um, it probably starts in like 6 hours for them because I think they're 6 hours ahead of us. So
yeah, yeah,
it's going to get started in no time for them. But Team USA released a beautiful statement basically saying, hey, we are proud of our accomplishments. We are proud to be together. We are proud to play these teams that we're going to compete against, but we are not proud of genocide in Gaza. We are not proud of fascism. We are not proud of a laundry list of things. They laid it out really well. So go check out
yeah.
Team USA Roller Derby on social media. They really said it very well as we head into the 4th of July. I thought that was a great post, and
Yeah.
I think a lot of us do agree. That's a great point, Cash.
Yeah, and I think too, it's like, the country we live in is a work in progress, and it may not be, where you're happy with it right now, but it's a work in progress. So, and I thought that, yeah, I thought it was a really great, solid statement. And it's like, and I'll be rooting for him because hell, that's our team. So,
Yeah,
it's, you know,
yeah. I mean, it's and I'm going to get a little like philosophical here, but you can want better for your country and still have a fair amount of pride or love for it, but you can want it to be better and you can want it to be more accepting or more forward thinking and so on. So yeah, it was a beautiful statement and a great way to kick off the weekend for the World Cup and kind of saying, hey, we are not going to do the anthem. All the different teams do their anthem and so on. But they will not be using their anthem, the national anthem. Instead, they will be reading the statement. So kudos to them.
yeah, without a doubt. And I think it's a it's a bold statement, and but they're also groundbreaking players that I give them a lot of credit. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Most of Team USA, especially when you think of some of the more notable faces, are certainly not shy in their ability to take up space.
yeah,
So good for them for agreeing on a statement and so on and coming up with it. So it is going to be a great weekend. There's going to be so much roller derby going on. It's going to be, geez, just a busy month even. But um, yeah, make sure you're checking out the World Cup this weekend. These athletes have worked tirelessly. Some people have had this goal for years to make it to the World Cup. and be able to represent their country or their borderless team. So make sure you are, supporting your friends, supporting your teammates, and watching.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm going to try. It's just it's like you said, it's 6 hours earlier, so it's very interesting. One of our Rock City skaters, Shady, was over there and actually went over a bit early. And if you listened to me last week, I might have mentioned that we were going to have a bunch of skaters on, and didn't end up working out, unfortunately. But that was because it just everyone's this is a big adventure for a lot of players going all the way there. So we'll just get them on the flip side to see what their experiences were like and stuff like that. But Shady, I did message while Shady had just gotten over there, and I was like, it was like maybe 1 in the afternoon here. It was like 7 o'clock there. So it's probably wise if I guess I'm a skater to get over there early to get used to the time change because does. I mean, just a couple hours screws me up, you know. It's like when I went to Vegas last year. So it was like so I'm definitely excited for all the people over there. They're gonna show the world what they can do. And it's, and I like we've talked about before. I wasn't absolutely sure if things have changed that much in this sport that it'll be different than it has been in the past. And I guess we'll find out after this weekend coming up. But they've got a whole slew of games tomorrow, starting very early, all day. So I'm really having that FOMO moment, because it's like I know that if I had put in for it, I could be there. So it's like,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
but
Awesome.
I enjoy being a fan of it too. So I can sit back here and watch it. So
Right. For sure. For sure. Well, it'll be a great weekend. We are going to get to our weeks here in just a moment. I will say, um, I did mention it's been a little while since I've been here, so I do want to take a second and thank you for listening. Whether you listen on 106.3 WRFC here in Rochester, whether you pick us up wherever you get your favorite podcasts, or whether you check us out on Facebook.com/Derby Rocks, we appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is important to note that we would not do it without you. So, before we get to our weeks, I will say it has been freaking hot. Last week was brutal.
yeah.
This week has been, not too bad. Typical summer weather. It is humid. I have gotten some quotes on central air even because it has been so stinking hot.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah.
we'll see. But yeah, why don't we go ahead and I'll talk about my last couple of weeks, and why don't you go ahead and start with your week?
Sure. If you remember last week was the last week of students being in the schools. I'm a 12-month employee of a school district, so summer project started this week, but last weekend I got like I felt I had like a sinus headache, and it just like the whole last weekend's kind of like I just missed it in general because it just my head was killing me most of the weekend, and it's like a dummy. I went out and cut my grass still, even with a headache. So I missed out on like a good graduation party for my cousin's daughter who graduated. I did stop by for a second, dropped a card, and said, "I'll see you later." Plus, I'm scared of big crowds, so it was way packed, and that and a headache, and it's like that eliminated that. But so that's how I started my week. But this week I've been like running around, the last 2 days of the week and just working a lot. I'm looking forward to the World Cup this weekend. Get a little spy that a little bit. We got the, 4th of July stuff going on, and it's still, it'll happen. So I get an extra day off. So technically Thursday is my Friday, I guess you could say. But beyond that, nothing that exciting really is jumping out at me from the last couple of weeks. I mean, did I mention when we were last live in the studio that I got a new car? I think.
Yeah, we talked
Okay.
about it.
Okay. So that's about the excitement of my life. There you
Got
go.
the undercoating and everything, right?
That's right. The undercoating, and I got it, so I still haven't put gas in it yet since I bought it. So it's doing pretty
Oh,
good
that's
mileage.
nice.
Yeah. I probably should soon though, but, looking forward to like I'm gonna see my mom this weekend, see how she's doing. 90-year-old
Cool.
Mama Cash man, and
Yeah,
get to
we
catch
love
up with
Mama Cash.
Yeah, I get to catch up with fam a little bit, fam there, but that's nothing super duper exciting. We got, like you said, there's a lot coming up in July, so they're
Yeah.
definitely so there'll definitely be more excitement, especially in roller derby stuff coming up. So how about you? I mean, we missed you last week, and I'm sorry. Last week, I mean, what was it, about 18 minutes I went, I think, because I had news, but it was like I really didn't.
Uh,
We ran a couple of really old interviews, which I thought was pretty cool. It was three members of Team Canada that were going to play in the World Cup in 2018, I believe. So it was
very nice.
the last one we had, I believe. So yeah,
Definitely.
yeah,
What was I going to say? I had a freaking question for you. Oh, is Saturday the thing at the town hall?
yeah. That's actually the fourth is on Friday. That's when they're doing it. So
Really
uh,
doing it on a Friday?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Then they're doing well. I mean, obviously doing the fireworks too Friday night. So
Oh yeah, but like people got to work on Friday. How are we supposed to hit the beer tent if we got? I mean, I know it's the fourth, so people don't actually have to work, but
yeah, yeah.
some people do. I
Uh,
figured they would at least do it on a Saturday.
you would think so. They're actually starting Thursday night too, so it's tomorrow night. So yeah, but they're doing the
Seems
bulk of it
weird.
on. Yeah, they're doing the bulk of it on Friday. I forgot to mention one thing too. I watched. Did you watch the King and Queen of the Ring this past
Oh
weekend?
yeah, the Blood Money pay-per-view.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
What'd you think? Do you like botches before endings of matches?
No, no, not quite. It's whatever. It was all right. It's decent these days. I always hate the Saudi pay-per-views. I think they're unnecessary and uncalled for.
Yeah,
Um, but that they pay like $1 billion to get them over there, so I understand why they do it. But it's whatever. It was fine. I'm more annoyed about the Royal Rumble being over here.
yeah. I wonder if they're going to time delay that, or they're going to do it at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, I'd hope they would do it, earlier so it's actually like live at normal time for us, but who knows?
Yeah.
Especially because it'll be like bright, insanely bright during the day unless they do it inside, but who knows?
Yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah, I don't know, it was okay.
yeah.
You good?
Yeah, I'm
Sorry.
good. That's it.
Yeah, so it's been a couple of weeks for me, nothing too wild on my end. Last week we took Anderson to Canandaigua to go swimming. So his Aunt Lynn got him like a pretty cool like floaty thing that he can just sit in. That's sort of like a harness, but it also has like a shade, but it's a pool float. I don't know. It's cool. We don't necessarily have to sit there and like hold him in it. He can kind of just float around. Obviously, we still pay attention to him. But no, it was a lot of fun. He loves water. He's a very water oriented baby, so it's pretty cool. Um, Lots of work coming up. Same old stuff, especially my season at Darien starts on Sunday. We've got Wiz Khalifa in town on Sunday, so we're going to start the season off with what should be a pretty fun show. Um, I can't think of anything else that I did last week. Same old, really. I do appreciate you covering for me. I just wasn't feeling it. I'm not going to lie. Um, my niece, for anybody that's been to any of our derby bouts, you might have come across my niece. She actually graduated high school, and I feel horribly old. So, yeah, that's brutal, but no, it's great. I'm really proud of her. That was Sunday. Um, I'm trying to think of what else from this weekend. I don't know. I worked a show. I think that was Saturday night. It was Reverend Horton Heat. They're like a rockabilly band that's been around forever. They were on the Drew Carey show once. I don't know. They're really nice guys, very appreciative. They're old as all get out, but great to see them still kicking around. Pretty well regular week other than that. Tomorrow I am working a show at the Montage. The band is called the Skylit Drive. They're like emo, screamo, post-hardcore, whatever you want to call it. I'm actually really excited. I've been a fan of theirs. I've seen them a handful of times. I'm very blessed to be able to work shows for bands that I really enjoy, especially with these smaller shows. Like I will undoubtedly interact with the band directly and things like that. So Um, it's pretty cool usually when it's an artist or a band at the montage. At least I can at least if I appreciate their music or think they put on a good show, I can at least tell them, and I think stuff like that's pretty cool. So I'm very lucky to have those opportunities. I work some huge shows and I never see the artists, and if I ever do, I'm not really supposed to talk to them because they're huge artists. Um, so it's still very cool, but I understand that like I shouldn't just talk to John Mayer or Gene Simmons like that.
Not unless you want COVID, right?
Yeah, I shouldn't, go chase down Kesha and tell her how much I appreciate her music because I do, and she is playing at Darien this summer, which I'm very excited about. But yeah, different venues with different rules and things like that. I can sort of, do more. So I don't want to say what I want because it's still a job at the Montage. It's just a much smaller venue and much more I don't want to say attainable because we're talking about bands and people, but they're much more, reasonable to have conversations with and things like that. So I'm excited. It's going to be a great show tomorrow. But yeah, it's a busy weekend for me, as I had mentioned. We start up at Darien.
Yeah.
We have the 4th of July, of course. I'm going to be a pincushion by the time Monday comes because tomorrow I'm actually going to see my ortho, two different ortho appointments in the next like 5 days. Tomorrow's is for my shoulder from different things, but I should be getting a cortisone shot there. And then Monday, thankfully, is my nerve block, which I'm excited for. Um, I don't know how it's all going to turn out. Ideally, it'll help, and maybe even by roller derby tournament, I'll feel good enough to play derby again, and I can, and maybe not as well. Who knows how it's going to turn out. I want to remain positive, but it's pretty rough. I've talked about it. I have three different chronic compression fractures in my vertebrae. And I have a pretty well like crushed, collapsed disc that's pinching on my nerves. So it'll be good to get a nerve block. Although it's kind of nerve wracking because you have to get a nerve block shots under X-ray because they're pretty invasive as far as shots go. So um, yeah, that stuff is not awesome all the time. But it hopefully ends up being great. So
Yeah,
we'll see
hopefully
how
it
that
does the
goes.
job. Does the job, Yeah.
Yeah, just looking for successful here.
Yep.
There can certainly be some complications and things like that, just like any procedure. So hopefully nothing serious happens and Monday will go okay. But yeah, lots of really cool stuff, lots of cool shows coming up at Darien. As you'll hear in our interview with my baby daddy from Casco Bay, coming up on the 12th, we will head out to Albany. We're going to meet Casco Bay out there and kind of give them a tune-up, allow them to sort of shake the rust off, um, and get some scrimmage time against us. It's going to be fun. They're a great group of folks, and they've done favors for us over the years. So, it's all about helping each other out and,
Yeah.
and doing what you can. So that'll be exciting. And then I forgot if I've mentioned it, but we are also in roller derby tournament again. We're going to head down and play two games on Sunday and fill in for the St. Louis beekeepers who, for whatever reason, were unable to make it. So we're extremely excited. We will get to play two new teams. We're going to play the newer Tampa Death Rollers or whatever the hell their name is.
Yeah, yeah.
We're going to play Chicago's B team. So we're definitely looking forward to that.
Very cool.
We're playing the old game here in the city. Is it gunshots or is it fireworks?
Oh
And
man.
Tucker's going crazy, so you might hear Tucker. But no, outside of that, man, I don't have too much going on. I love that I say that. I don't have too much going on, even though I have a ton going
Sure,
on.
sure.
There's actually a lot going on, not a ton outside of the normal for me. Normal for me is having like five jobs and working all the time and being very busy. And Anderson is almost 6 months old, if you guys can believe that. Time is just flying by. And it's really cool because his half birthday is my actual birthday. So we get to
Coming
celebrate
up.
that.
Yeah.
It'll be a lot of fun. So, yeah, we've got a lot to look forward to. With that being said, I think we should go ahead and maybe take ourselves a commercial break, and we will come back and talk to my baby daddy from Casco Big Roller Derby. You're listening to Derby Rocks. Thanks for having me. Welcome back to Derby Rocks. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. It's going to be a great episode, great interview. I'm excited. With the North American qualifiers right around the corner taking place in Everett, Mass, we are joined by MBD, or My Baby Daddy, from Casco Bay Roller Derby. What's going on, buddy? How we doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Of course, thanks for coming on the show. Let's hop right into it. Why don't you tell us all about how you got involved in roller derby?
Yeah, well, my girlfriend at the time kind of got me into it. She was invited to Twin State Derby by just a friend to one of their rookie intakes, and she joined it and fell in love with it pretty quick. And then a few months after that, she dragged me there to come on as an official. So I started officiating for Twin State Derby, and then a few months later, got the itch to start playing. So joined Vermont Men's Roller Derby, which at the time was about a 90-minute drive up to their practices. But Ellen actually moved up to Burlington for a year, so I'd kind of go up. I could stay with her. I could go to practice, and so we made it work. And that was the hook. It just it, I was it was pretty funny timing actually when I Ellen started doing derby. I should say Ellen, her derby name, Felon of Troy, skates for Twin State Derby, also skates for Casco Bay now. Um, I had just started reinvigorating my fencing career because I fenced during college, and so I joined the local fencing club. And then she dragged me to derby, and I was like, "Oh man, I just started fencing," but like the team, just the atmosphere of derby was so fun that as much as I loved fencing, just the team sport and the everything around derby was so fun that yeah, eventually my fencing fell off and I stuck with derby.
Oddly enough, over the years, I've had two different people join Flower City who also fenced, which
Nice.
is just like the weirdest. I mean, I love it. Um, and Dallas, Magnum's partner, is doing like some fencing and stuff too. It's
Right.
unbelievable how popular fencing is in the roller derby community.
Yeah, fencing, it's heavy footwork involved in fencing. So a lot of
Yeah,
those, you're not getting the same edge work and stuff, but a lot of that stuff can translate. I mean, any sport really is helpful as for derby background. I think skiing is um, most people who have a good skiing background who I've dealt with coming into derby to pick it up really quickly. Um,
yeah,
but yeah,
definitely.
there's a someone who joined Casco recently who's also a fencer too. So I need to sit down and talk with him about it more. But
That's
that is
those
a
skills.
funny
Yeah.
overlap.
Those skills really come in handy when you have the sword in your hand and you're stabbing somebody, right?
Yeah, I do that all the time on the track. You gotta
Yeah.
find a way to hide it from the officials, though.
There you
It
go.
can get a little tricky.
Those
What
transferable skills, you know.
Yeah.
what other sports did you play growing up in high school or college or anything outside of
Um,
fencing?
yeah, so I played soccer all through like elementary, middle school, into high school. In high school, I started adding in other sports like track and field and cross country. Um, but I would dabble in all sorts of stuff. And
Sure.
as I grew up in Vermont, so we did all sorts of outdoor mountain biking and that kind of thing. When I went to college, I started doing just every like intramural sport. All of my friends there, we did volleyball, soccer, flag football, all that kind of stuff. Broom ball was pretty fun. If you had a chance to
Sure.
play broom ball on ice, it's a good time. And I started actually a roommate in college played club hockey, so we did quite a bit of ice skating in college, and that actually really helped when I joined Derby a couple of years later. I had kind of gotten my backward transitions down and backwards crossovers on hockey skates and had to stubbornly transfer those skills to roller skates instead of hockey skates. But I got there.
Sure, sure. Well, let me ask, do you have a preference for individual sports or team sports?
Um, Yeah, I mean team sports. So like I said, that transition from fencing to derby was large part because of just the team atmosphere and playing with friends and building each other up. And um, even now, I think like the team aspect of derby is something that helps drive me to like cross train and just stay fit in my general life because I have a team of people that's, depending on me and that I'm depending on them, and it builds. And I like that culture, and I mean I like that pressure. It keeps me accountable to myself as well. So individual sports, you can have drive and motivation, but I don't feel the same accountability there. So uh, yeah, and then obviously just having a whole bunch of friends that you can hang out with and shoot issues with each week and hit each other is great.
Yeah, absolutely. So it sounds like you took to Derby pretty well. You could do like backwards skating, backwards crossover on ice skates. I think ice skating, for me at least, is significantly more of a challenge. I'm pretty good on ice skates as well. Comparatively, I guess you could say to some people, but yeah, how did you end up taking to Derby overall?
Yeah, so I started skating as the official. I joined Vermont Men's Roller Derby. I Vermont Men's Roller Derby is a pretty small league when I joined. Um, it started shrinking after I joined. I'm not going to take the blame for that, but it was just a timing thing. And so, in a small league like that, you quickly get thrust into, a lot of playtime. So it was kind of sink or swim. So I figured out a lot of stuff really quickly. I think in some ways, maybe I learned some bad habits that then I have had to unlearn when I was on a team that had a deeper bench and things like that. So, um, yeah, I think I loved it, and I was willing to just jump in and try anything. Um, blocked a little bit early on, but very quickly it was just thrown into the jammer rotation against teams I had no business jamming against. So, yeah, I just had to kind of dive in, and um, I was pretty lucky that I didn't have any
Excellent.
serious injuries early on. I did break a
Well,
wrist, I twisted some ankles, and stuff like that, but was able to keep skating.
yeah. Let's talk about your transition to Mass Maelstrom. Um, Likely at the time a much more competitive atmosphere. Playing higher ranked teams, playing sanctioned games, playoffs, and such. How was the transition for you?
Yeah, it was a little bittersweet because I love the Mean Mountain Boys and VMRD, and I still have friends that I see in the Derby community from Vermont. Um, and so transition, leaving the league, I was hoping to kind of do double duty there for a while, but by the time I was leaving VMRD, we'd have 4 to 6 of us at a practice, which is hard to make a lot of progress in that environment. So I transferred to Maelstrom, and like the first practice at Maelstrom I walked into, there was like 26 people at practice, and I was just like, my jaw hit the floor. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna just learn so much. Um, so yeah, the competitiveness just immediately ramped up and was just go from kind of leading practices and making do with whoever, how many people you had, do some tripod drills and this and that, and then show up at Maelstrom practice and it's full lines and getting your ass kicked every night. And yeah, it was great.
Awesome.
So yeah, it took a while to build up to be able to contribute to Maelstrom, coming from that small league and really having to up my game to be able to earn that play time. It was a struggle, and it was a good struggle because it made me better. The Like I said, when I joined Maelstrom, huge amount of veterans on the team. The level of play was really high. I think within a couple of years, probably within 2 years, some of the veterans from Maelstrom were and getting to the end of their derby career and started retiring. Um, so we had to keep bringing people in, training them up, and after a couple of years, I was one of the veterans of Maelstrom all of a sudden. So even within Maelstrom, I saw a big change. And yeah, it was all fun. We Maelstrom like peaked at like number 4 in the world, and that was before I joined. Um, so they'd already dropped in ranking from that, but like it was, there's a big adjustment period from when I joined to leading up to the pandemic within Maelstrom. So it was all good. We had a great cohort there, and yeah, some of those folks have moved on to Casco as well, which I'm sure we'll talk about Casco coming up.
I do want to mention that you were playing with like Stryker and Pickering, a bunch of these people, these vets when you were there. And it's like, did you just absorb like what they were, some of the things that they were like, showing you about, what they do special in roller derby?
I tried, yeah. Um, yeah, like I said, just coming in there and having this veteran cohort to like be leading practices and having, we do a lot of blocker splits and jammer splits for like the first half of practice. And R2 was there leading jammer stuff, and blockers would dive into their thing. And yeah, it was a really cool atmosphere to have that level of, veteran skater there to train us. That was something that was not, when I joined Vermont, there were veteran skaters there. But then like I built myself up to their level, and then I joined Maelstrom and had this next tier of skater that I could learn from. And so it was really, yeah, pretty neat. And like those first days was just, I was in awe of showing up there and seeing the level of play from everyone. So
So you've been around a little while and played for a few different teams now. Who are some of your favorite players or teams that you've come across over the years?
that's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I've always had a great relationship with Casco Bay because I've played them so many times, back
Sure.
with Vermont, and even when I joined Maelstrom. So Grim and Tugboat from Casco are big names. And I remember early on Shram came and guest skated with Vermont against Casco Bay, so that was a good early derby memory. I don't even remember what year that was, but that was a long time ago.
Maybe 17, 18.
I think it was longer than that because I think I joined Maelstrom in 2016.
The earliest it could have been was 16 because
Oh,
that is when I started.
okay. Hmm. Maybe it was, yeah, so it was probably 16 or 17 then. I don't think it was 18. But yeah, that was early. That was a lot of fun.
That was
Um, Played Philly a bunch, so have, like a lot of those guys. They don't like being told that people like them, but Ratchet
that's
and
because we all really do just love them, and then they insist that we don't, but we really do.
yeah, yeah, they don't like to be told that. But anyways, there's some good folks down there, and have some good like going out to sibling rivalry 2 years ago with Casco Bay and just being on the track with all these. That was sibling rivalry had archer games and gatekeepers games, so being on the track with the gatekeepers with Denver, um, yeah, that was just incredible. But then also having Rose City in the house and Arch, like being on the track while Rose City's skaters are coming out to like warm up and stuff, was that was pretty cool. Yeah, there goes Bonnie Thunder skating by, and just anytime you get to brush elbows with those top tier skaters across the board is pretty cool. And
Agreed.
Northeast Derby convention, we had like taken classes with Scald and with Baller Shot Collar, so
Sure.
all that
A
stuff,
throwback
super fun.
too.
What was that?
Northeast Derby Convention or whatever it was called. That's like quite a throwback. It's been some time.
Is that the one
Yeah,
that was that in Rhode Island? No.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
yeah. I think it might have been the last year that we went. I don't know if they did it one more year after that or not, but yeah, it was sad to see that go. It was
Sure.
pretty cool.
Let's talk about your Derby name and how you came up with that. It always makes me laugh a little bit. There's got to be a story. So.
I love it when announcers have fun with it. I mean, which is most of the time at a game, like if I'm jamming and I'm lining up, I'm like totally tuning out the announcers. But if I get out of my head a little bit and I have the wherewithal to like listen to what the announcers are saying and they're joking around about my name, I love it. Um,
Sure.
and yeah, so when I was trying to think of my derby name at the time, I was watching a lot of Doctor Who because I'm a big nerd, sci-fi and fantasy nerd here, willing to admit it. Um, I was trying to think of a Doctor Who themed name, so my initial gut was Doctor Who's Your Daddy, and my only I was worried just about how long the name was, and so someone sitting at the table, a Twin State Derby skater, she suggested, "Well, why not just go with my baby daddy?" I was like, "Ah, I don't know, that's pretty silly." And then I immediately thought of the awkward conversations that could occur, and I was like, "Yeah, yeah, that sounds great." Um, and yeah, I think
Pretty much
like
all your daddy, so there's
within a year, like I had officials come up to me and be like, "Oh yeah, I told someone I was going down and officiate with my baby daddy," and they just looked at me and they said, "I didn't know you had kids." I was like, "Yes, that's what I want." So
exactly it. Perfect.
I love hearing those stories. They're great.
Sure. Well, let's talk about COVID and eventually Maelstrom kind of unfortunately going under. The good news is a lot of you who wanted to continue had have the opportunity and have continued, which is great. So you switched to Casco and kind of become this like super team, and you guys are kicking ass all over the place now. Tell us how that's been.
Yeah, it's been great. I already mentioned, like I kind of felt like I had a long relationship with Casco from playing them so many times with Vermont, and yeah, Maelstrom kind of leading. We had a really fun season planned for 2020, as I'm sure so many leagues did, and um, the pandemic hit. We kept things going for a while, doing watch parties and all sorts of stuff, trying to keep some cohesion going, and then pandemic kept going. So we had already been struggling with practice spaces when the roller rink in Massachusetts closed, and we were practicing at the Boston space, and then again with the pandemic, Boston lost their space. So Maelstrom didn't even
Yeah.
really have a home after the pandemic, which was a big, you know, it's hard to skate when you don't have a place to skate. So at that point
Yes,
already,
it
we are
is.
all spread out too. It's like we didn't have a cohort that was really based in Boston. So coming back from the pandemic, we kind of all chatted, and a couple people took the plunge and transferred to Casco, and then it just kind of became like, we talked amongst ourselves, like, look, we're gonna pretty much merge the leagues. Casco has infrastructure set up. They've got 501c3 status. They've got a home rink that weekly practices are good to go. So it was really a no brainer to move along to Casco and make new friends, reconnect with old friends.
Fair. And I mean, it's obviously worked out this year in Everett, Mass. August 1st to the 3rd. You guys are for the first time going to not only host a playoff, but you're going to participate in a playoff. Um, it's got to feel pretty damn good.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we kind of did the same thing with Maelstrom. We hosted Bob H and NAQ in one year, and we're lucky enough to make NAQs that year. So a couple of us from Maelstrom had this experience, and now Casco gets that experience too. And so it's very, very cool. Hosting tournaments is a big deal. It's a lot of work. Hosting Bob H this year was super fun. It's always super fun, and it's so much work too. Um, but Casco does a really great job hosting and distributing the workload and kind of making it as easy as possible, which is great. I think Maelstrom, we had a smaller crew doing a lot of work and we pulled it off, but Casco is a pretty well-oiled machine for hosting events. So I expect NAQs to go off just as easily. And the nice thing about hosting, I mean, for any team that's considering hosting like MRDA postseason stuff, it is really great that the MRDA is handling officials and a lot of the other roles that, tournament heads and all that stuff. So that takes a lot of work off of the host league, which is great. So in a lot of ways, it's easier to host playoffs than it is to like truly host and organize your own tournament. So if anyone's thinking about trying to host playoffs, which, I dive in, do it, submit a bid. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. Um, have you found that anything specifically has been a struggle with NAQs versus just a regular event or a regular tournament?
Well, we'll find out when we get there. We haven't actually hosted anything at Everett before. Um, Maelstrom has played there in the past, and I think that was a doubleheader with Boston. Boston does a lot of events there. So, going into a new venue is always an adventure, but we'll learn things. And yeah, we've got a good setup. I think the MRDA has a good system in place. Moose, president of Casco Bay and president of the MRDA, he's done a lot of work on the tech side of tournaments and getting this like crate set up with tablets and everything for the scoreboard and NSOs for penalty tracking and paperwork and stuff. So that's another thing that just totally smooths out the whole event. So we gotta, organize volunteers. We gotta get medics. We gotta get in, lay the track down, and then hopefully we can think about skating.
Nice, nice, good. What are your goals for that weekend?
Oh man, leave it all on the track.
Now, wait a second. It's the
Obviously,
top two teams that continue on too, right? That's the
Correct.
so you just got to be one or two, and you're going to champs. So
that's true. There's multiple paths to get there. The brackets are already out, so you can lose one game and then work your way up the other side of the bracket if need be. Um, so yeah, we'll see what we can do. That would be amazing. I obviously would jump at the opportunity to go to champs, but I'm really just excited. The matchups for organizing Bob H, we're always trying to get close matchups and create some exciting games, and we got that a lot this year, both with the MRDA bracket, the WFDA games, and the juniors brackets. We had a lot of really close games, and I expect that to happen at NAQs this year too. It's a really close group of teams as far as skill level. So I'm just they're going to be super fun games, and my personal goal is to make sure I don't feel like I could have done more in a game. I want to feel like win or lose, like I did everything I could, and I hope my teammates can feel that too, because we've been putting in a lot of hard work, and no matter what happens, you want to feel like you did it on the track and you left it all out there. So we're definitely going to win some games. I'll tell you that. We're gonna kick some ass. But yeah, we'll see what we can do. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I'm pulling for you.
Thanks, man.
Of course, of course. Let's see. What kind of habits or superstitions do you have? Anything pre-game, or do you got like lucky socks that you won't change if you win the first game in a tournament?
Let's see. Not too much. Um I try to just go into a little bit of Zen mode leading up to a game to just not get in my head too much. I don't think I get in my head too much, but I think that's like sort of intentional, just like breathing exercises and relaxing. And I watch a lot of footage leading up to games and try to. I should be training my ass off right now, so then I can taper off, leading into the game. But on game day, it's trying to plan out meals and fuel up at the right times and wake up early enough to get coffee in, but not be jittery by the time the game hits. And um, yeah, not too
Heard that.
many like lucky socks or anything.
you don't like have a song you play in your headphones when you're warming up or anything, or
No, I've never even gone the headphone route. I've thought about it, and then I don't know. I don't go there. I try not to have too many I feel like too many things like that would actually make me more anxious instead of being like a calming thing. They would just be things that I have to think about leading. Oh, do I have my headphones? Do I have this? Do I have that? Do I have, like? I just like simple. The simplest checklist is the best checklist in my opinion. If I have my gear, my skates, my jersey, I'm good to go.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, I was wondering,
So
you mentioned you had a whole laundry list of people that you were excited to see a couple of years ago. Is there anyone's that, any like skaters that you're a fan of? I mean, I know you hate to admit somebody else, but but is there anyone like, or maybe like you fashion your style after maybe a little bit?
I mean, yeah, I have always watched the tall skinny jammers. As a tall skinny guy myself, they're, what I want to strive for. So, Carnage from Mohawk
Whoever.
Valley onto Shock Exchange and now onto Puget. I've always really loved watching Carnage play,
yeah,
and hopefully we'll see him at NAQs. He's traveling out with Puget. Um, Ferguson from Denver. Now he's with Southern Discomfort, I think. He's out in Europe. And I think I saw him skating the Southern Discomfort. But Ferguson, I mean, seeing him play at Champs is always like, I don't know how he does what he does. He has these forward jumps that he's like from a standstill. He just jumps straight up the sideline, and it's amazing. I can't accelerate like that in one step.
very, very cool. So a lot of us who are friends with you, um, or know ya, we all kind of have this inside joke. I think that you started revolving around water machines, like the refill stations, and the numbers that they put out, and each one will display like plastic water bottles saved on them or whatever.
Yeah.
Where did like, I think it was you who first started posting these, and like why and how have we all now just associate water refill stations with you is unbelievable.
Yeah. Hashtag Waterworld. Got to confuse all the Kevin Costner fans out there. Um, I cannot believe how much this thing blew up. I don't know, I was traveling with Fallon one time and we just like saw a water count. I was like, oh man, I wonder where we can find the highest water count on these things. And I just like took a picture and posted it, and then took two or three more pictures, and then even from that, like three different people started sending me photos. And then they started posting them on there, and then it just like blew up. And I'll get like texts and messages from people like, hey, I'm up in Canada, my local hockey rink has got this. Like it was hilarious, and still is.
Yeah,
I,
it's great.
I really want to like build a cool website, but that's
Or like an
beyond my
Instagram
skill
or
level.
something like that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Hershey from started with Twin State, has transferred to Casco Bay. So Hershey Bad is a co-captain of Casco this year with me, and
Yeah.
she's gotten super into it. I mean, half the posts on my Facebook page now are from her. She travels quite a bit, and she's found like, yeah, there's some three plus million bottle
Wow.
counts out
Oh,
there. Pretty solid.
What
So
is
here's the goal. The goal now, we've found enough that are over 1 million bottles saved, that we need to find one that's over 1 million that's not in an airport, because all of the high counts have been in airports. So I challenge anyone, if you can find a 1 million count that's not in an airport, please send it to me.
where is the highest bottle count that you've seen with your own eyes, not in an
Mm. Oh, not, yeah, that's a good question. I'd have to consult the archives.
airport? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No, that's all right. I was pleasantly surprised with my son's elementary school. They had over 100K for like
That's
a
pretty
K
impressive.
through 5 school. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was impressed.
that's great. What's the plan moving forward for you? You know, you've been playing and reffing for a while. You've been playing at a high level. You have a family. Um, do you have an exit strategy, or are you just kind of playing it by ear? What's the game plan?
That's a good question. I don't have a game plan. I It is a lot to juggle. We have two young kids now, 7 and 4 years old. So, things are picking up with the 7-year-old in school and starting to do sports, and our 4-year-old is about to go into pre-K at the end of the summer. And yeah, it's crazy. We're putting an addition on our house this summer, and that we're just finishing up all the concrete work and starting building like next week. So yeah, life is crazy, but I don't know. My only game plan right now is to keep playing until I feel like I'm done.
The
So
wheels fall off, right? The
yeah,
wheels fall.
yeah. I don't feel like
Best.
I'm done yet. I think I'm knocking on the door of 40 years old by the end of the year. So, but I don't. Yeah, I feel that. I feel that every morning, but I don't like. I
Same.
don't think my play is worse than it was. I think I'm still getting better at Derby because I'm getting smarter. I'm getting more experienced. I'm still having fun doing it. So, you know,
Absolutely.
the game plan is that I have no game plan yet.
How far did Maelstrom go when you were there? Did you ever go to the champs? To champ?
No, we were right on the door. The Dallas champs, we were like one spot away from that. And so we didn't know if we were gonna get a spot there, so I actually just bought a ticket to go. So I was spectating that, um, which was wild. That was the infamous battle between your mom and gatekeepers at the end of
Yeah.
the finals. um,
Oh, you were there for that, huh?
I was there for that. It was
Oh,
pretty wild. Um, so that was like we were knocking on the door there, and then after that, we hosted NAQs in 2018, and so played at NAQs that year, and that was kind of the highest that we
does
made
that
balls there.
does that help motivate you when it comes to the NAQs coming up? Uh,
Yeah, second time playing in playoffs for
yeah.
sure. I don't want to leave anything. I don't want to feel, yeah, like I've left anything behind there. So, um, I think it's important not to just push for that pinnacle and have that be your only goal. I think in coaching Twin State Derby, we've always talked about sustainable growth, and we're not trying to like build up a team to make a push into playoffs and that kind of thing. Because when you do that, and honestly, we saw that a bit with Maelstrom, when you're trying to push for one last shot at rankings or champs or whatever, then you're building yourself up to fall afterwards. So as much as I want to charge into NAQs and kick some ass, like I don't see that as the most important thing in the world that we like throw everything at NAQs. We still need to be building up the league, and we need to be building up all of our skaters, and um,
Oh,
yeah,
are you coming? Are you
sustainable
coming?
growth.
Are you coming to Rochester July 26th?
I am.
You
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Because they're playing Rock City. I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, Twin States playing Rock City on the 26th, and that'll be fun. So we'll be there for that. And then Casco's coming over to have a little scrimmage with Flower City on July 12th. So I'll be there for that too.
Very
That'll
cool.
be
Very cool.
exciting.
That won't be in Rochester, but
No,
we're
that
kind of
won't be.
meeting in the
That's
middle.
We're
Yeah.
yeah.
sort of meeting in the middle for that one, which is
Yeah.
kind of nice for both of us. So
Yeah. Well, super appreciate you guys, doing that, because that's going to be great for us to shake off a little rust before NAQs
yeah,
and see some old friends and have some fun.
yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. What I'm sorry, where are tickets available for NAQ, and where can people get information on it, and tell us, like, plug it one more time before we let you go.
Sure. I think the Casco Facebook page has been pushing it, and there'll definitely be some links to the Facebook events on through the MRDA Facebook page. I don't do any other socials, so I assume that stuff is being pushed other places, but I don't have Instagram, and
Casco Bay Roller Derby on all the socials, and you can find some links there.
for
So
sure.
we've got Casco Bay Roller Derby hosting the North American qualifiers in Everett, Massachusetts, August 1st through August 3rd. We are looking forward to it. I know I am pulling for you guys. I'm excited. I'm excited to see you guys coming up too. It's going to be great. Before I let you go, I want to know what you think the future of roller derby looks like.
Oh man, I mean, watching all the juniors come up is that's the future of roller derby right there. And it's exciting. I mean, especially in the Northeast, we have, primarily the open division of juniors. And that's what we've been hosting at Bob H. And so I've seen more of the open division stuff. So seeing all those folks come up is just amazing. Like having an 18-year-old who has 10 years of Derby experience is like just blows your mind, right?
Definitely.
So yeah, it's going to be exciting as more and more leagues, and we're going to see it at playoffs, at NAQs, and at champs. Who the heck is that? Like, oh, yeah, they're an aged up junior, and yeah, they're yeah, it's
Most
great.
awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. I know we're pulling for you. A lot of people are, so it's going to be exciting. Make sure you check out the North American qualifiers. Thanks again, buddy. We'll see you soon.
Welcome back to Derby Rocks. That's right. It's Derby Rocks on July 4th here. Cash and Shram with you. And it's time for some scores. So we've got,
Hey,
I've got some scores from this past week. Last weekend, WFTDA scores. I'll just do the closest bouts. We had Greensboro losing to Relentless 207 to 190 at 17-point difference. We had the retrogrades beating Relentless. They must have had a three-way going on, 182 to 165. River City lost to Braden Tucky. There's that team again, Braden Tucky. You love that name. 132 to 71. Yeah, 132 to 71. Rainy City beat 2x4, 167-94. Pardee, which is a Peterborough area roller derby, beat Rock City 131 to 57. Ouch! And we had Greensboro beating Carolina 171 to 97. Biggest upsets. We had Dirty Jersey losing to Harrisburg 210 to 101, and of course that Rainy City score there. There are no games this weekend because the World Cup's going on, but there are MRDA scores. Do you have them, or do you want me to go through them?
yeah, absolutely. So we had the Crash Test Brummies Summer Smash results. We had DHR Roller Derby beating the Crash Test Brummies 323 to 136. We had the Pan Am squad over the South Wales Salers 362 to 92. We had DHR beating the Guardians. We had Tynan Fears. I'm sorry, that last score was 270 to 114. We had Tynan Fears B Team being Glorious B Stars, losing to Pan Am Squad 93 to 316. We had the Guardians 185 over the Crash Test Dummies
Biggest upset of the week, too.
and South Wales South Wales losing to Tynan Fears B Team 255 to 232.
Yeah.
Good for Cleveland for going over there. Ultimately it's stuff like this that really helps the algorithm too, so
Yeah.
more data that we can feed in, the more likely and the more close it can put together results and scores and things like that. So, good for the Guardians for going over there.
Yeah.
Good for them for, beating a tough Crash Test Brummies team who is ranked a few spots ahead of them. So
yeah, and they it's interesting is they have three of the top six closest bouts from last weekend. All three Cleveland games that went on over there. So kudos to our friends. I saw all their pictures from London. I got to see the giant wheel and yeah, so there's lots of stuff going on there. So that's about all the scores we have, this weekend is World Cup. I did have a World Cup page that I printed out, but I don't know what I did with it. So, but there's,
there's a lot of games. They start tomorrow. Go check it out. Go to, I think it's just like World Cup 2025.com or something like that. You can go check it all out.
Yeah.
Or Google search WFTDA World Cup. Go Google Casco Bay Roller Derby, search their socials, get tickets to the North American qualifier. Thank you to my baby daddy for coming on. I know I am pulling for Casco to pull off an upset essentially and get one of these final spots. So my fingers are crossed. And thank you guys for hanging out with us. It has been a good show. Happy to be back. What do you say we go ahead and get out of here, Cash Man?
Yeah, let's get out of here.
All right. Sounds good. We'll see you next week, y'all.